Oh man, Khari Blasingame, it is an honor to finally connect here with a modern day fullback, Super Bowl champ, legend, father, financial wizard. You're a man who wears many hats. So thanks so much for hanging out here on the Go Long Pod. I know we almost connected this time a year ago, and your life has changed a lot even since then on and off the field. So in a
Yeah.
roundabout way, this is the perfect time to connect.
Hey man, thanks for making time for me, sticking with me for that whole year. I'm glad to, sit down and have this conversation with you.
Man, I just am blown away by your journey, and I feel like I only know a little bit here and there. But just take us back. I don't know. Maybe it starts in Alabama. Maybe you want to jump to Vandy when you kind of introduce yourself to the world, to football fans, on the field, off the field. Where do you start? What makes you who you are?
I mean, the football part, if you want to go back to the beginning, it starts in Huntsville, Alabama, Stoner Field, Northern League, Little League, how city leagues have different, teams based on the area. So the team I played for was Northern. Started off at 10. I wanted to play earlier than that, but my mom and my grandmother didn't really want me to. But my dad, when I was 10, took me, signed me up pretty much behind their back. And I had played baseball and basketball. I really liked baseball and basketball. But when I started playing football, it just felt different. It just felt different, man. And so I grew up playing football, basketball, baseball. I ran a little track in high school. But in high school, about my was it junior year? I left basketball behind in the ninth grade. I was good at basketball, but just kind of okay. And then I played baseball and football and ran track my senior year. And I got my first offer from Minnesota. Jerry Kill and his staff in Minnesota offered me. They offered me as a free safety. So, and, since we got the time, I started off my first starts on varsity were as a corner. Um, didn't play much running back, but I played corner, I played safety, and I did kick return. My junior year, I did, kick return, corner, safety, running back. In my senior year, I did everything from safety, uh, running back, a little bit of quarterback. So just really just, playing a lot of things, trying to help my team. And played baseball. And I'll tell you the story about baseball and how I got the Vanderbilt interest and offer from that. But and then I ran a little track, and so from there, went to college. But so when I was in high school, I played baseball with a guy named Kyle Wright, and Kyle went on to pitch for Vanderbilt, pitch for the Braves, won awards, World Series with the Braves. And his dad was the Coach Roger Wright. And so he was getting recruited by Vanderbilt, and Coach Wright knew that I wanted to go to Vanderbilt. So I went to a camp my junior year, had a great camp. Uh, Maybe it was my sophomore year. But I had a good camp, a little bit of interest, no offer. One of the baseball coaches comes down to watch Kyle, and Coach Wright kind of, puts a bug in his ear, like, "Hey, my right fielder, really good football player, got a Minnesota offer, wants to go to Vanderbilt. You guys should look him up." And it really like you know, put some gas in my recruiting journey. I had a great high school coach too, Coach OC. He helped me a lot with my recruiting. So that was really uh what got me started with Vanderbilt. And so Coach Franklin was there. They had some guys in front of me. So I committed to Minnesota. I loved Coach Kill, loved his program. But Minnesota's kind of far from a kid from Alabama. So yeah, man, I ended up getting the offer when Franklin left and went to Penn State. And the rest is history. Decommitted and went to Vanderbilt as a free safety. I was probably what 6'1", 200 pounds, 195. And I thought I was gonna be kind of like a LaRon Landry, Cam Chancellor type guy. Like that. Those are the safeties that I grew
Oh
up on.
yeah.
The hard hitters, the box safeties. After that freshman year, I'm in the box. I'm playing linebacker. So it's played linebacker and special teams my redshirt freshman year. And after that, we had some really good linebackers um, on the team. Nigel Bowden, Zach Cunningham, Oren Burks. Zach and Oren, two NFL guys that I was playing behind. So my coach looked at my high school film. We needed some depth at running back, and he was like, "We need you to play running back." And he was like, "That's your best way on the field." So gave it a spring, and started off actually playing more fullback than running back because my coach Ludwig in college he ran that type of system, H back fullback type deal. But they let me tote the rock, and it started to work out, and I had three pretty good years at running back. And so yeah, after that, go through the whole pro day thing. Didn't get invited to the combine. Never really became the starter at Vanderbilt. Split time a couple years, but had put some good stuff on film from a pass protection standpoint, from special team standpoint, and ran the ball pretty well. So I got an opportunity with Minnesota, the Vikings, as an undrafted free agent. Coach Kennedy Palomalu gave me my first shot, and pretty much got in there behind CJ and just tried to learn as much as I could. Took a lot of lumps, uh, but ended up, by the grace of God, being able to, stick around and make a home for myself in Tennessee. Played in Tennessee 3 years, had a couple of good runs there. Landed in Chicago, had about 2.5 good years there, and ended up this past year in Philadelphia and won a Super Bowl. So that's pretty much my whole football journey, my whole sports journey, summed up in about what, 5 minutes here.
I love because you don't really see kids today say, "Damn it, I want to be a fullback. I want to line up in
Nah,
the power I formation and just ram my head through that four hole right at a linebacker." Like, you don't think that at age 8. It just kind of
nah, you
happens
want
in
to
this
run the ball, you want
Darwinian
to
way,
score.
you know?
Yeah, you want to run the ball, you want to score, you want to do all of that. But, I love the game. And so I wanted to play at a high level, and that was my chance. And so with all the blocking and everything, I still got to catch the ball a few times, make a few plays, In all honesty, wanted to do it a little bit more. But it is what it is. So
So do you know at the tip of your tongue like how many fullbacks are even alive in today's NFL? There can't be that many.
I don't think it's any more than 20. It can't be any
Right.
more than 20. The ones that really play a lot is probably no more than eight, you know. Like I think about guys like Alec Ingold, CJ Ham, Patrick Ricard, Kyle Juszczyk, uh, the guy in New Orleans plays a
Hmm.
bit. Can't think of his name right now, but I met him and he's a good dude. Denver uses one. I think Pittsburgh is about to start using
Hmm. Oh,
using
Arthur
their
Smith, he'll bust it out, right? Like you had him,
yeah yeah
maybe.
he will he will. I think their guy was a tight end number last year, 83, and I know
Oh yeah,
Philly is
Connor Haywood. Hayward.
yeah Connor Hayward, and Philly they're going back to it, so it's it's a good number, but it's nowhere near what it was with the Lorenzo Neals and
Oh,
that age. Yeah, yeah,
no doubt. Like, was there a well, first of all, you mentioned Tennessee, and my mind just goes to a Titans football practice. I'm imagining you and David Long Jr. just clashing like a couple of Rams. I got to know him for a piece here at Go. He is wired very different. He is a violent individual. Did you guys ever lock
absolutely.
horns?
Absolutely, and he's definitely violent. He plays with a violence that, and this is no offense to him, but for his size, you think he would be more finesse, and he definitely uses angles to his advantage, right? Say he's spilling something, he definitely knows how to get skinny, and but when it comes to making a decision and going, he's going, and there's no hesitation in him, and so yeah, we definitely had a couple. We definitely had a couple. Those camps, man, those some good camps.
Boy, so at Vanderbilt, you went to college probably not really thinking initially that the NFL is a career. I mean, for those who don't know, you're exceptionally bright. I think you wanted to be a doctor. Is that right? Initially, a surgeon?
Initially, I did want to be a surgeon, so one of my role models, no pun intended, was Myron Rolle.
Yeah.
Safety, went to Florida State from New Jersey, eventual Rhodes Scholar. Now he's a neurosurgeon. And so I just always really liked his story, you know. And so my mom is a foot doctor. She's a surgeon as well. And so I always thought that would be something really cool to do. I always had a interest in biology and the sciences. And so yeah, I started off doing that. I was on the pre-med track. Um, Somewhere along the line, I ran into calculus. I was good at the sciences, the neuro and stuff like that. But I ran into calculus, and we weren't allowed to use a calculator, and so that hit me pretty hard. And that was about the time that the football field started picking up. So I kind of took the pre-med track in Vanderbilt, or you can be pre-med, but a lot of people do medicine, health, and society. So I was doing medicine, health, and society. It's kind of like a public health degree, and so I went the healthcare administration route. Uh, and yeah, so started taking more business classes, corporate strategy stuff, and saw that I really liked business a lot more than I liked the science side of pre-med and everything. So that was cool, and then I ended up getting my master's in leadership and organizational performance from the Peabody School of Education. And so from there, it just really shifted my whole mindset to being more interested in business and running business, looking at the markets and things like that. So yeah, but that's a long-winded way of saying yeah. I came in wanting to be a physician, wanting to be a surgeon. Uh, I definitely thought that if I did everything right, I could have a shot at the NFL. Like I knew that there, always are going you're gonna be your drafted guys and stuff like that. But I knew that, and shout out to Coach Mason because he told me this when I was getting recruited. He was like, you're gonna have to cut your teeth on special teams first, right? He told me that as a recruit, and that's one of the things that made me excited about coming because I knew he was always gonna be honest with me. So I knew special teams was gonna have to be a big role in me getting on the field early. And then, once you start to hear guys come back and talk to you and coaches who have been in the league, they say, oh man, special teams is huge. And you realize, okay, I'm pretty good at special teams. Like I can go make some plays. Like I made a big play my redshirt freshman year, big forced fumble versus Mizzou, even though they overturned it, but whatever. So I always thought like, I have a chance, right? I'll have a chance. And then, you just keep chugging away and then you just get more confirmation that you'll have a chance. And so it's not like I was ever pessimistic about my chances to go to the league. I just always was hedging my bets. I always wanted to hedge against the fact that, if I don't make it, I still want to be okay. You know what I mean? Still want to have something to do that I can enjoy and compete at. So that's where the pre-med thing came in and then,
Yeah.
getting interested in the business.
Well, shit, I can remember being an intern covering the Packers training camp. This would have been 2007, 2008, and talking to like Brandon Myrie and John Kuhn and like fullbacks a long time ago and talking to them about like how their position is going extinct, right? That's what we do in the media. It's all fear based. And oh my God, how
Good
how are you
motive.
going to survive 90-man training camp? Nobody wants you in. It's like shit. If you're unselfish, if you're going to do stuff that nobody else wants to do, you can carve out an NFL career for yourself. Like you've got to have certain characteristics to you to survive, right? I mean, it seems like you kind of found what those qualities need to be, and good coaches are going to find a way to give you a roster spot and hell, suit you up in a Super Bowl down there in the Superdome against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Man, yeah. I mean, not well, one, I appreciate you saying that. And two, it's definitely about just finding those little spaces where, you got to give up some of that ego. Everybody wants to be the guy, everybody wants to touch the ball, but there's only one ball to go around. And so, you know, I had the opportunity to make some plays on special teams early in my career. And luckily, I was locked in enough that I didn't make very many mistakes. And so that's something that's pretty valuable in the league. Like if a coach can put you in and know, hey, this guy can play, like for example, special teams, this guy can play punt, wing, he can play tackle. He can line up at PP and call the huddle because he knows the scheme, and he's gonna run and put his face in the fan on kickoff. Like that's valuable. And so if you want to play, if you
Yeah.
want to do it, those are the things you do. And so uh, I was blessed enough to have the opportunities to show that I was willing to do it, and it paid off. It wasn't always pretty, but it definitely paid off.
Man, I feel like there's some wisdom that everybody can take from that to any industry, right? I feel that there's probably so many college grads, so many people in the real world that instantly want to be Fortune 500 multi-millionaires. And I don't know, man. Like, figure out something that nobody else can do, nobody else wants to do, and you can make a living, right?
Nah, yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And as you were bringing that up, I was kind of just like thinking about some of the stuff that I'm reading right now in terms of like business. And you're definitely right. Like, not everybody's gonna be the private equity guy or but you can find a niche.
Yeah.
Niches make money too. And that's with everything. And so I think that's a big part of what I was able to do in college and able to do in my NFL career so far. And so, we'll just see how it goes and whatever's next, keep, having those same values and using that same system to try to be successful.
I mean, because at Vanderbilt, you could have told coaches to get bent. I'm a safety. I'm Cam Chancellor. I'm going to take people out, and that competitiveness could come out, and you could try to stick it to them. Watch me. There it is a fine line because as a professional athlete, you need some ego. Like you need some of that
Yeah.
alpha, but also you need to adapt and evolve and adjust and maybe figure out your position where, okay, I'll go to running back, fullback, figure it out there and look at you get to Vikings camp and you just keep going and going and going and going. What is that fine
Yeah.
line to you? How did you figure that out?
You know, I think part of the ego was like, all right, you move me here, I'm gonna go do that and be great at it anyway. And I also think that, I'm a numbers guy, right? So I feel like, and this is not me trying to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm good at spotting trends and noticing trends, right? So yeah, Cam Chancellor, LaRon Landry, that was the, you know, 2010, early 2010s, early 2000s. That type of safety was that game. But I mean, as you notice, and as you probably know, the game changes, right? And so I can look at numbers and I can look at, okay, the safeties that are getting drafted in today's league or the league when I was in a freshman or going into my sophomore years, like, okay, they're a little bit smaller, a little bit faster. You're not really getting, those big hard hitters. And then if you are, those guys are becoming box outside linebackers,
Right.
right, in the league. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I looked at a guy like Ryan Shazier. Like I always tried to find somebody in whatever position I moved to. It's like, okay, who has similar measurables to me and similar like physical attributes. And I'm by no means saying I was a Ryan Shazier type of linebacker, but just in terms of like speed, length, and size at that time, you look at it and you say, okay, well, this guy's had success, and then there's other guys in that same model that have had success. I have a higher likelihood of having success here than I do there. Okay, I'm cool moving there. And then when it comes to, running back, you know, you look at the guys in front of you. I had some really great linebackers in front of me, a little bit longer arms, a little bit taller.
Hmm.
I I feel like I played very physically, but you need a little bit more than that. And then I looked at running back. Okay, my size for running back in the league, I looked at guys like Jordan Howard who had good careers, one cut downhill guys. Uh, and I was like, okay, if I could do that and play special teams, I got a pretty good chance anyway. And if I need to go back to linebacker and it doesn't work after the spring, go back to linebacker. So it's really about playing the percentages, uh, you know, percentages and probabilities, just trying to give myself the best shot. And so I think it was pragmatic in that sense, but I think it was also a little bit of like, all right, you go move me. I'm just gonna go into this room and do my thing because I'm a dog anyway. Like, it
Yeah.
does whether I'm a running back or a linebacker, I'm gonna still get on special teams and clap something. So you hand me the ball, I'm gonna go hit something. I'm gonna go run over something, run past something. I always had that like, all right, whatever you say, I can do. Whatever gives me the best chance to play, I just want to play. And so yeah, I think it was more so that too. Like I just wanted to touch the field. I just wanted to
Yeah.
be on the field to help the team and not be, you know, Kool-Aid drinker.
I also love that moment where you said there's like was it a calculus class? Like, I mean, so you're going to be a surgeon, and that is a totally different career trek you could have taken if you leaned into that 100%. But I'm just picturing you like in this class. Just I was there at Syracuse in many classes, like shit. No thanks. Where's my slip to get the hell out of this? What
Yeah,
class was it?
so I was doing really well in school, and so I think Huber's got me a little bit because I loaded up my schedule. I took neuro and calc at the same time.
And we're not
Neuro was
talking about Alabama or I mean, this is Vanderbilt. Different
Yeah,
world there,
that was a
academically.
mistake, man. That was a mistake, man. So I was taking neuro and doing pretty good at that. But yeah, no. So I loaded my schedule up, man, and ran into a wall, man. Couldn't use a calculator. We were doing some stuff that I didn't know was involved in Calc 1, and maybe it was just the professor I had, but I had already dropped one class that semester. I couldn't drop another one, and so I ended up just having to take that L, man. It was tough, but yeah, it was right around the time where I was like, okay, I got a chance at this football thing. Let me
Yeah.
see what I can do. I can always go back and get those prerequisites because you got to get the calculus and the physics and all of that. But the math one was what got me.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like for kids today though. There was like a clip that was going viral last week, and I forget what university it was. He graduated and he held up like the screen of his laptop, thanking AI for giving him all the answers to all these. It's like it's kind of sad. What is? I'm gonna feel like a middle-aged curmudgeon-y old man now, but can people just use AI and cheat their way through college now? It it's a different world. I know I'm
Yeah,
thinking of our kids. Do we even
yeah,
want them in college?
it's
They got to work.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I mean, I think AI is cool in the sense that it's a tool that can like be an assister, but I think a lot of I think the technology too is growing in the sense that you're gonna be able to detect if somebody's using it, and it's not like this foolproof thing. So like
Okay, good. That's good.
you can ask it for some research. It's if you're using like Chat GPT or something, it's still not. It makes errors, right? And so a lot of I was actually on a plane headed down to Miami for a wedding. I was sitting next to a professor, and he was reading a book on AI. Took a picture of it.
Huh.
Uh, if anybody wants to read it, it's let's see, it's called AI Snake Oil by Arvind Narayanan and Sayash Kapoor. But really, it's like it's only as smart as the people using it, right? So you can ask it to write you this 15-page paper on, medieval age Italy or something like that.
Hmm.
But if you don't know what you're looking at, you're probably gonna get caught because a lot of there's technology now that can say, oh, well, they used AI to write like 25% of this paper, and you know,
Okay,
so
good.
so when somebody says that, it's like, okay, yeah, you really just did yourself a disservice if you paid for that degree. Like you didn't really get much out of it. So I don't know. I think it'll balance itself out. I definitely think it'll balance itself out because everything's a pendulum, right? Like you'll get this big AI is the best thing that happens since sliced bread, and then people will get really hurt by it, and there'll be the
Yeah.
picks and the pitchforks and the shovels and the lanterns, and will want to kill it. So just like everything, with phones, I'm sure as like having children, like
Oh,
I, you think having a computer in your hand, I know I did and still do. Having a computer in your hand is the best thing, but it's like all of a sudden we don't want our kids, exposed to that and having that, we see what it does to their attention span and, their ability to emotionally regulate. So I think AI will have that same type of pendulum swing effect. I just think we're at the very beginning of it right now. And people are just so hyped up about it too because of, the money making implications and, you know, but I don't know why I just went on that long rant about
no, I
AI.
love it. Dude, I love it. And I want to get into all your interests. I know you read a ton, and I've caught you in some of these business podcasts and financial podcasts. We got to go down that road if you want to. But yeah, we've got three kids now here at HQ, and I just pray that by the time they're teenagers, some type of digital nuke hits and just eliminates most of social media and the way kids are living. And for it, I'll take a dumb phone. If dumb phones are mainstream, great. But even no phones, right? Just
Yeah.
like literally smell the roses. Let's go outside and take in the world versus looking at a screen of any kind. And I get it; it's a necessary evil, but it's okay. It's okay to be different. That will be our message to our kids. Like it's okay to be different than all of your peers because it's horrifying. I mean, we've talked about it on here, but you go to Starbucks, you sit down, and there's a dad who comes in with a few kids, and they're all on screens. They're not even talking to each other. What a great way to piss your life away. I mean, I feel like
Yeah,
saying something. It's heartbreaking to see.
yeah. And I get it too though, because we've had to pull out the screens. You sitting at dinner,
Sure.
you're trying to have a nice dinner with your wife. You probably might need that 30 minutes, but it definitely is hard because I grew up with a phone probably since sometime in either elementary school, but it was a flip phone just to call and get rides and stuff. And so I feel like I was on the tail end or the beginning of like the screens. And so I'm kind of chronically online. But one of the things that I'm seeing now is that there is this pendulum where people are going to the dumb phones and they're essentially like some people are even going all the way back to a flip phone and just like, hey, I just needed to make calls. Right. So
Good.
I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there. I
Good
don't know
time to
how
tell
long.
everybody to download the Substack app and read all of our stuff. I mean, business kind of is on a phone. I get it, but
Yeah,
I want the thing to go away.
it's that digital marketplace. It's that digital marketplace. So I guess we should be careful what we ask for, though.
Right, right. Well, I mean, if we went back to hard copy newspapers, I'd be all about that. Get people reading that more.
You know what? I have an app. It's kind of boring, but I have
Oh,
there's a Wall Street Journal print app, and so the Wall Street Journal has a regular app you can scroll through and just read like online articles, but then they have an app that looks like the newspaper. You can scroll through it and read through the newspaper. And it's like I found myself like almost about to subscribe to get a real newspaper to read it. But yeah, maybe those will
almost.
come next. Almost I didn't do it. I was like, I don't know. I might be too out the way here to be getting newspaper deliveries. So
Man, if we can dive right back into the football. So, I mean, what a pendulum swing for you to be living in the world of the Chicago Bears and then land on the Philadelphia Eagles and play in the playoffs and get to New Orleans and win a Super Bowl. What was this past year really like for you?
uh it was a lot, man. It was a lot. It was a lot, dog. Just and this. I mean, no offense to anybody in Chicago. I have a tremendous amount of respect for that whole organization from the top to the bottom, right? And everybody that I got to play for, got to play with. But that last year, just you could kind of see the writing on the wall. You're fighting to stay alive, fighting to prove your value on special teams and on offense. I had a couple of things that sidelined me for just a few weeks at a time, and in the NFL. Sometimes that's enough. You know, all it takes is a few weeks, especially when, OC doesn't necessarily use it historically. Shane didn't historically use the fullback a lot. And, credit to him and everybody who, tried to work it in is just kind of like fitting a round peg in a square hole. So that was a lot, emotionally, because you got then, where part of it's out of your control. Something you feel like you have more control than you do, as athletes. And I'm sure you're all over this type of thinking too. You try to take, 100% accountability, right? And you know, it's tough because it's like, what more can I do? What more can I do? And so when you're going through that emotionally, it's tough. And eventually getting cut after the London game, that was tough. That was tough. Yeah. And then, as football players, as athletes, we every time we get laid off, it's public news, and so you got people calling you, people calling me, hey man, I'm praying for you. And while I appreciate it, it's also like, man, I'm not dead, I'm not sick. I lost a job.
People are treating you like you literally died.
Yeah, and so, that was, having to deal with the, I guess, ego bruise of that and learn from that. But then, getting to a point where, and to be honest, before Philly called, I was like, hey, that's it, I'm out. You know,
Really?
yeah,
You were done.
I was gonna be, yeah. We were visiting some of my wife's family in South Carolina. My agent calls and was like, hey man, you want to go win a ring with Philly? And I'm like, man, what are you talking about? They don't even use a fullback. And he was like, yeah, they just started trying to use one, this and that. And I was about to say no, honestly. I was about because my daughter was due in December. in late
Wow.
December. And this was late November, so we got about a month to go. And I honestly was gonna be like, man, uh, it's gonna sound emotional, but man, it's like you're almost, your heart broken, your heart's not in it anymore. Like whoop de whoop, you just ready to say nah. But credit to my wife, she was like, nah, I got a good feeling about this one. Like, because we sat and gave it a day. It was maybe Saturday that they called. We watched them play the Ravens, and I like the brand of football, like physical, nasty football. And she was like, I got a good feeling about this, and I'm okay. I'm okay if you go. Like I got my mom and my sister to help me with the pregnancy. You can just fly back, and so I don't know many women who would do that. Being damn near 9 months pregnant. You know,
We just lived it. For those who don't know, it's a different world when your wife. I can't imagine what they're going through at the end.
yeah.
It's brutal to see.
Yeah, and so, for her to be cool with it and ship me out there, that was cool. And so I got there, did the whole live in a hotel, find you a place to live. And once I got over that hump of not being home, it was amazing to feel like that playing football again. I mean, just that team and just how close they were, how much fun they had, like how much fun we had. I hadn't felt that since college. I've been on some great teams. Tennessee was great. I loved a lot of the guys in Chicago that I played with and built great relationships. But to see the whole team love each other like that and play hard like that and just have fun, you know really was if I have opportunity to play, if I have an opportunity to play this year, cool. If not, that would be a great way to like remember the game on, to be able
Yeah.
to play with guys who love the game, play hard, and just have a lot of fun doing it. Being able to have fun doing something you love when you haven't been having fun is like it's something you can't really pay for.
Where were you in South Carolina? Like paint the picture there where you get when you get this call. I don't know who your agent is and what's going through your mind when you're having that
So
conversation.
so my agent is Blake Barras and he calls
What?
me.
Blake is your agent? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Blake's a great
why
dude,
did it
isn't he?
take us this long to connect? My God.
Man, great dude. And so he calls me, man. We're in a hotel, uh, just hanging out, man. I had actually bought some eggnogs. Like, I guess it was that close to the holidays. I bought some eggnog. I never had eggnog before. I'm chilling. I'm reading a book, like a cool little fiction book. Just kind of, just relaxing, just kind of being done. And man, he
Fiction,
called.
not even nonfiction. You're taking yourself to fantasy land at that point.
I hadn't read a fiction book in years, dog. That's the kind of mind space I was in. Like
What book
just
was it?
it's called The President's Lawyer. It's called The President's Lawyer by guy's last name was Robbins. It's kind of, book about uh political murder plot and whatever. It's cool. I like little stuff like that. But but yeah, that's what it was. It was visiting family and I was just kind of, you know, I had worked out here and there just to stay ready physically in case somebody called, but nothing like, extremely, just gritting my teeth. I was just taking some time and that's kind of where I was, man. And I guess the rest is history.
Right. So at some point it clicks in your mind like, I got to get there. I got to join this team. I want to keep playing. It's not like other professions though. I mean, you're bashing into other 250, 275 pound, 300 pound men for a living, special teams on offense, tush pushing all that. I mean, you got to get to a place mentally to want to throw yourself back into that world one more time when you are kind of contemplating retirement and these other interests outside of football.
Yeah, nah, and that was honestly the tough part. Guys joke all the time about like being in a hotel room for camp or OTAs, and it's like, man, you're in that hotel room, the walls start closing in. It's like, so I definitely had to go through a process of just like amping myself back up to do that, to even play special teams. Because I thought, so I was on the practice squad, but when they brought me in, how the elevations work and everything, I was elevated for that first game, and I didn't know if I would be like ready to play a whole 4 quarters but it worked out. We ended up having to re-kick on punt one time, and I was gassed. But it played out, and yeah, but it took a lot. It took a lot. That first few weeks was tough, man. I was, you know, having a 2-year old, about to have an infant, like it's just a lot of things in the mental space that made it pretty tough. But you know, ended up pushing through, lying on faith heavy, and made it through, and the reward was definitely sweet at the end, man.
When was your baby born?
New Year's Eve, December 31st.
So how were you able to stay in touch with your wife and contribute and be there, if not physically, emotionally, as much as possible?
I mean, yeah, FaceTime all the time. Those phones we were just talking about not being on all the
No,
time, but
right.
FaceTime all the time. And then I flew back twice actually. So one time we thought it was about to happen, didn't happen. Flew back and it didn't happen for another like 6 days, 6 or 7 days. And so yeah, I just flying back and trying to be there for it. And just a big shout out to Coach Sirianni and Howie and uh just all the coaches there, like just the support of like understanding like that go do that, right? We got something big we're doing here, but that's family, that's bigger. And they were very supportive and all the my teammates super supportive. And it just made it a lot easier. Made it a lot easier. Like I said, that team had a lot of fun. They loved the game. They loved the game, but more importantly, man, they loved each other. And so that was a really fun experience to have. Uh really fun team to be a part of.
How will you always remember that Philadelphia Eagles team? Then is it that? I mean, there was something special to this group where, I mean, you're facing the best player on the planet, maybe the GOAT when it's all said and done. And I think by the time you passed midfield, you guys are up by what, 30, 35 points. That was an ass kicking in every sense of the word.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what you said. Like just like the happiness, like in the league, there are not many games like that, let alone Super Bowls, right? And so just like being on the sideline with a couple minutes ago, knowing that it's yours, like the what's I can't even think of the word. Like it wouldn't even be happiness, but like the elation, I guess. Like the joy that the team was experiencing when that clock was ticking down. Like the joy watching them hit that man all those times, right? Uh I don't think it's much that gets close to that, man. And I'll just always remember that. I think the word will be joy, bro. The word will be joy. Like everybody played with so much joy, and it came out, you know, during the Super Bowl.
Joy and a lot of violence. I mean, how is it different there in Philadelphia when it's one thing to watch it on TV or up in the press box, but when you're on the sideline and you're hearing it, you're watching it, you're witnessing it, whether it's the offensive or defensive lines. How is it just different in Philadelphia versus Chicago, Tennessee? Anything you've seen?
It was different because it was all the time. It was just so consistent and so like overwhelming. Like Jalen Carter, I hate to be presumptive and I hate to jump the gun, and I know a lot of people have said it, but like that guy's gonna he continues to do what he does. He'll wear a gold jacket. He's gonna wear a gold jacket. Like he's that good. Nolan Smith is violent, bro. Talk about splattering pullers. Like, Zach Bond, intense. The defensive backs, even down to the special teams. Will Shipley, like he, it was just so consistent all the way around the ball. I can think Oren Burks. I played with him in college, and that first hit versus Green Bay, the forced fumble on kickoff, that
Yeah,
set the tone, man. That
yeah.
set the tone. So I think that would be the difference. It came from everywhere. It came from everywhere. From special teams, from defense, and then the offense. Like just the sheer size and physicality of the O line. You know, you've got tight ends running down the field, blocking for receivers, blocking for running back. I mean, it was just so consistent and it was so all the time. And so I think that would be the difference. Is that yeah, I've experienced it and I've seen overwhelming like force from a defense and from an offense at times, but it was just all the time in Philadelphia.
Jalen Carter, gold jacket. It's a different level of violence with him, isn't it? I'm picturing him just smacking Patrick Mahomes across the head. What makes him special?
Obviously, it's the physical tools. Obviously, I mean, he's built like a tank. Like he's built like a tank. He's so solid, right? I hit him one time in practice by accident, like kind of bumped into him. I'm like, God damn. Like he's just a solid human, really solid human. Uh, but the football IQ, right? Like the different things, understanding like, okay, there was a play versus the Rams where his football IQ made the play. Like they were stunting him all game. They were stunting all game, and he fakes the stunt, goes, makes the game winning sack. So I think it's that, and I just think it's like, yes, those two things: God-given ability and football IQ. Like
Yeah.
some of the things he does, you just can't coach. You just love to watch it, and yeah, it would have to be that.
And you're a Super Bowl champ. I mean, if that's the way you go out, that's a hell of a way to go out. What was that
Yeah,
feeling like?
I mean, after the year, I don't know, man. I kind of still feel like there's like a haze over it, to where like I've got this the locker plaque up here, and it's just like,
Oh,
dang,
there it
did that
is. Yeah,
really?
over your shoulder if you're listening
Yeah,
or reading it, it's right there.
like, dang, did that really just happen after how the year started? You know, did that really just happen? I mean, I'm staying ready. I'm lifting. I'm training. I'm doing the things. And if it happens, it happens. And I love to go and play and be there for a team and do my job and go have fun and win games. And I would love to. But if it doesn't, what can you say, man? What can you say?
So
I
you want to
mean,
play. You want to keep going.
we might edit this out. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, this is between me and you. I mean, I don't know. Not gonna lie to you and say yeah. Not gonna lie to you and say no.
Well, you thought you were possibly done down there in South Carolina when Blake gave you a call, so you never know,
Yeah.
right? Somebody might need
You
Khari
never know.
Blasingame.
It might just work out in a way that I don't think you can't see it work. That's how God works, right? Like he works things out to where you never see them playing out like that, and then they play out like that, right? So you never know. I could be sitting here saying, I don't know. And he could be like, it's done. And he could be like, hey, nah, go back. I got more for you to do. So, we'll see what opportunities pop up. And if they do, I'm gonna be the same me. I'm gonna go in there, compete hard, stick my face in the fan, make some plays, and do whatever I can do to, help a team. But if not, God has already been good, so I'm cool.
Where is home for you, and what are you contemplating post NFL? I imagine those thoughts are going through your mind. Not to race
Yeah.
ahead to that life.
Oh no, I think about it every day. But I'm in Georgia. I live in Georgia now. Um, and yeah, post NFL life. I would give you the details of what I'm thinking, but sometimes I don't like to do that. But I will say I do want to be in a position to help athletes financially. I think that I'll have an opportunity to do that and to help athletes like really just be, solidified off the field. You see a lot of times, especially with all this NIL, like, guys are signing bad contracts. They don't really understand what it takes uh to project their future earnings realistically and to understand what, making whatever they get, whether it's like 80, 90,000 bucks or a couple 100,000 per year in college, right? So I think that it'll be in some way, whatever I do next will be, I'll put myself in a position to help young athletes and not even just young athletes, but to help people financially because I found throughout my time in the league that I'm really passionate about that, and it kind of gives me the same feeling I had about football when I was young. Like I wake up, I read about it, I watch it on TV. I probably watch CNBC now more than I watch ESPN. I probably have
Really?
I probably haven't turned on ESPN in months. I think the only time I watch sports is during football season because I love baseball and I can watch it in person. I just can't watch it on TV. Basketball, I didn't even watch the finals. I kept up with it through a group chat that I had with some of my boys. Uh, Watched more women's basketball and softball than anything. Uh, but yeah, so it's just I've gotten really interested in it. I love keeping up with it, and I think that I have you know the insights and the temperament to be able to help people. So we'll see if I can find a lane and carve me out a niche like we talked about earlier. Find a niche and provide value in it.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I feel like that's your superpower. I mean, you kind of know where you're needed, and I don't think fans at home realize like so many players across the NFL where they come from. I mean, they've got cousins and uncles and aunts and parents and friends and brothers and sisters and friends of friends who, once they even have an inkling of a shot at an opportunity at maybe they'll be on a 90-man roster, their phones are blowing up. Whether it's subtle or direct. It's easy for somebody with a kind heart to just send money to everybody
Absolutely,
all the time,
absolutely.
and then it's gone. And then this NFL contract that everybody thinks is a lot of money, it evaporates in thin air, just like that.
I don't mean to sound like out of touch, but it's really easy to spend a couple $100,000. Like
Oh yeah,
it is really easy to run through it. You get you a car or two, you buy a house that maybe you can't afford. That thing is gone, and you know that thing is gone in 2 years. Like the rookie contract that I signed was, well, I can't even remember the full contract value, but the first year on practice squad, I probably only walked away with a couple $100,000. If I never played again from that point, like, yeah, it might look good when people read, oh, he signs this 3 year, 1 point, whatever, but I don't think people are factoring in just how long the lifespans have gotten, just how like big of a factor inflation is, just how much things cost, right? And so I think it's just really important that we get that information out and share that. And one thing my parents always said when they were giving me wisdom was like, hey, you can't say I didn't tell you. And so I just there's so much information out there, some bad information, some good information, but we just want to make sure that the good information is louder. And a lot of times, what you find with the good information is a lot quieter than the loud information.
it's a great
You
point.
know, and so I think part of my goal is to, however I position myself in the future, is to make sure that the good information is a little bit louder than the bad information, a little bit more pointed, a little bit better marketed than it has been. So yeah,
You, well, you're gonna make a difference. I mean, we hope to see on a football field, but man, you clearly have a vision and a lane and a way to change lives for the better. So that's awesome, Kari. I can't thank you enough for hanging out like this on a Tuesday
man,
night.
man, this is cool, man. Everybody always say you want to get people talking, ask them about themselves. So I appreciate you giving me a little time to talk about some of the stuff that's important to me in my journey, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, the pleasure is all here. I mean, is there a book that people should read? We've got a lot of readers that listen to this and read at go along. Is there a book you want to steer them toward?
Oh man,
You got a lot
yeah,
behind you there.
yeah. Okay, so let's see. I think I gave away. Uh, I think I gave away one of them, but this is a really good one right here. By Morgan Housel. It's called The Psychology of Money. Uh,
There
It's
it
a
is.
really good, it's a really good read. It's a really easy read. And he doesn't just talk about money, he kind of distills a lot of his thoughts and his themes from, different historical, you know, ebbs and flows of the market. So that's really cool. There was another one, it's almost like a textbook. It's called Money Master the Game, and I think that's Tony Robbins. That's a good one. I think I ended up giving that one away, and so I don't have that one up there. Yeah, I don't have that one up there. Oh, here's another one too. Uh, Same as Ever by Morgan House. Yeah, if he sees this, he's going. I hope he sees this.
Same
But
as ever. All right. There it
Morgan
is.
Housel, The Psychology of Money, and Same as Ever. Those are two of my favorite books that I read last year. And so Same as Ever is pretty much what I said about the psychology of money. It's going to talk about, the financial markets and, the animal spirits and the ebbs and flows. But, the tagline, it says a guide to what never changes. So it really just talks about like human psychology and, how that affects how we operate inside of markets. So yeah, those are my two.
Perfect. All right,
Those are my
everybody,
two.
check it out. Those are great recommendations, man. I just got into David Goggins' second book, Never Finished, man. I feel like I had to run through that wall over there. I don't know, are you into Goggins at all?
I am. I watch a lot of his videos. He's an interesting dude. I think, the 100-mile races. I don't know if I'll get there, but a lot of the stuff he talks about is spot on.
Fantastic, dude. Thanks so much for hanging out, and you are welcome back any day, anytime. You're obviously just at the start of a life where you're going to be changing lives. So thanks so much, Kari. Really
Hey man, I
appreciate you.
appreciate you saying that, man. Thank you.